An engineering student answered 81 questions correctly on a 90 question test. What percent of the questions did she answer correctly? What percent were incorrect? So this question has two parts, as we can clearly see. So let me label this as the first part and this one as the second part. So the student answered a total of 90 questions, out of which 81 were correct. So in total, I'll just make a quick data chart of everything that is given to us. Total 90 questions, out of which 81 were correct. And the question wants us to find the percent of questions that she answered correctly. So out of the 90 questions, she answered 81 questions correctly. Now if I bring this into perspective and write this down as an expression, what I should have is she solved a certain percent of questions out of this total number of questions, and that certain percent equals to 81 answers. So let's suppose that for the time being, the percentage of the questions that she solved correctly is X percent. Now we have an expression which we can solve mathematically and find the value of X. This X right here is what we're concerned with. So let's do the first part. X percent can also be written as X over 100, and I can replace this off by a multiplication sign, and I bring down 90 and I bring down 81. So this is what we really have. X over 100 multiplied by 90 is 81. What this is really saying is that X parts out of 100 of this total amount equals to 81. We don't know what that number of parts is, and that is exactly what we need to find. So let's solve this further and see what we get as an answer for X. So X over 100 multiplied by 90 equals to 81. Now I can multiply both of these, but let me add a denominator to this number as well so that it's easier for you to understand what I'm doing. Now since we're multiplying two fractions, we multiply the numerators first, and what that gives us is 90x. Now we're done with the numerators, let's move on to the denominators. So 100 multiplied by 1 is 100, and we're left with 90x over 100 equals to 81. Now again, there's no denominator below 81, so I'll add 1 here. And since both of these fractions have this equals to sign in between, I can cross multiply, which means I can multiply 81 by 100 and I can multiply 91 by x. So 90x by 1 is 90x, and 81 multiplied by 100 is 8100. Now I can make x the subject over here, since that is what we're supposed to find. We're supposed to find X percent, so I'll make x the subject and I'll move 90 to the other side of the equals to sign. Now remember that since 90 and x are being multiplied, when I shift it one of these to this side, the 90 right here is going to be divided by 81. So 8100 divided by 90. Let's cancel out the zeros first, and we are left with x equals to 810 over 9. Now we know that 9 nines are 81. Now if we add a 0 to 9, we should get 810. So x equals to 90, and since we are supposed to find the percentage, we'll add the percent sign here. So x equals to 90%. What percent of questions did she answer correctly? She answered 90% of the questions correctly. Moving on to the second part. In fact, let me use another color. So we are dealing with the second part of this question now. And this question is relatively easier because we have already found out the percentage of the question answers that she did correctly, or the percentage of the questions that she solved correctly. Now, out of a total of 100%, because the total is always 100%, we had 90 questions, out of which she solved 81 questions correctly, and the percentage that we got was 90%. So out of 100%, she solved 90% questions correctly, which means we're left with 10% questions that should have been incorrect, and this is our answer. So what percent were incorrect? 10% of the questions were incorrect.